Today I'll be reacting to what it's like moving to the USA. That's a great question, but before I go into that, can I ask you for one thing? If you can leave a like, thank you so much, my friend. This is the best way to show support. If you can subscribe, well, in that case, forget about it. You make my day. Have that in consideration. Now, link for the original video in my description. Give Diane some love. Amazing, amazing channel. That said, let's play it.
Get Lawrence from Lost in the Pond on the channel.
Oh, I love Lawrence.
Lost in the Pond, brilliant in Chicago. Get Lawrence on or I'm going to kick you in the face.
Okay.
Okay, I think I should maybe get Lawrence from Lost in the Pond on my channel.
I was expecting that.
I'm so good at things and magic. Hi, Lawrence.
Who's that?
You're in my hotel.
It's Diane.
His wife is here too, it's okay.
Okay.
So, today I have Lawrence from Lost in the Pond with me. You look lost in this setup.
It's my general disposition, Diane.
How did you get here? Through the magic of cinema.
Taxi. We took a taxi.
Wow, okay.
Hi, I'm Lawrence from Lost in the Pond. You just said that, but yeah. I'm saying it again.
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond.
Because that's who I am.
And one of those memos pertains to... I already know that. I watch this channel all the time.
What I do, check me out on YouTube or the other social media places.
And he does culture stuff and things too.
Yeah.
In a light-hearted way.
Very
And in my opinion, the best one doing that.
light
I said it.
way. Awkward.
Well, today I'm going to talk to Lawrence about what it's like being a person living in the United States of America versus being a person just visiting the United States of the America.
They're both very different things.
They are different things because I feel like I get all the loveliness of like being a tourist and I get to see all the nice things and maybe I get people on their best behavior.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
It's possible, especially with your accent, and I've experienced that myself in the past visiting, and I think...
In other end, I'm screwed. With my Russian accent, they may even not like it because Russians, you guys get what I'm trying to say. But I'm not Russian. That said, this is a great duo, and I'm joking, my friends. I know you guys will be friendly. This is a great duo, Lawrence and Diane.
I think that's true. I think some of the day-to-day things that I have to experience living here, you don't have to put up with. So it's great.
Yeah, totally. Something, and we're just going to get this one out of the way. Tipping. Okay. How many times have you talked about tipping? Tipping!
Tipping a lot because it's such a big cultural difference, I think, between both America and my country and probably your country, I suspect.
Exactly. So when I come here, I really do have to think about it, though. Like when I'm tipping, like, am I tipping this much? Am I tipping that much? Do I tip this person? Have they gone? But I guess living here, you must be on autopilot by now.
Yes, you do get into that kind of autopilot.
I feel like you guys probably have some applications on the phone. 100% there is some programs that can do that, some apps that can do that for you.
Way with it. However, there are certain circumstances where I still don't know if I'm supposed to tip. Like if you go into, not a Subway, because I don't think it's expected there, but in a fancy kind of like place where they make things for you at a counter and then you yourself take it to a desk, I'm still unsure if you tip for that. Some people say you don't, some people say you do. So I don't know, but the tipping thing is still an unusual thing for me because it's not required.
Right, I had a funny one actually. I got a spray tan. Oh, so I know.
Fancy.
I'm off-white. Wow.
Right, because if you're not Oompa Loompa orange, what are you even doing with your life?
But I asked for medium and I got fair.
If fake tan dysmorphia is affecting you or a loved one, please contact Diane's Patreon or channel membership. Also, if you're enjoying this video, you'll probably enjoy the behind the scenes and the additional video which will be coming out in this channel soon, so subscribe.
Okay.
Or miss it.
So I'm supposed to go back and get resprayed. Now, I already tipped for it and they offered my money back, but they said they'd respray me. So I'm like, do I tip again?
That's a good question, and without much experience of tanning salons, I can't really give you an in-depth answer to that. But I can say that
I would say yes.
I think that just generally speaking, when you revisit or go back to an establishment that maybe you've been to before, it's still expected that you would perhaps tip.
If it's a different person, I'm thinking I'll tip them. But if it's the girl who did me the first time,
You've got to send a message.
right? Wow.
This day and age. I'm kidding. I'm actually.
She's been in Chicago too long.
I am a profoundly good tipper.
Are you?
Yeah, definitely. 20% every time. Not every time.
Let's go, my friend Lawrence. 20%. That's what I am going to do. 20%. Or 15 if the service is okay. 20% if the service is good. You guys told me that. I'm going with that to America.
There was this one incident at IHOP where we got shortchanged in both senses of the word, and that person received a tip of about 1%.
Oh my God, really?
No.
I can't imagine you would do that.
I wouldn't do that, but I was tempted.
What?
It was in my head to do it.
And the British anger is so quiet and seething.
It is, but also this sort of like propensity to be polite was also weighing against it. So I thought, well, I should at least do something, and I did.
Right. I love like how expressive Americans are. Like when an American is angry, you know they're angry.
Oh yeah.
And I found myself like, say something happens even on camera, and I'm like, was I very furious there, and it was very rude, and then I look back at it, you know, and same with British people.
Oh yeah.
You're like, no, you're angry and all.
Oh,
You
yeah,
actually seem quite pleasant.
Are you all right?
This
mate?
is
Yeah,
true.
I'm fine. And you
I know because of my channel, sometimes I interact with people and I believe Americans are super genuine, and I like that.
feel it deep within your, you know, being.
Exactly.
That you've been rude, and it's like when we met you today, Tara suggested, oh, why don't you come meet us at where we're going to be? And I was like, oh, I've already made the plans, we don't want to ruin the plans now, you know. And so that happened, and I still feel bad to this day.
No, you shouldn't. I'm totally fine with it.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
If they're just like straight out the gate, very broad general question. Is there any huge differences you can think about being a person who visits here versus being a person who lives here that would immediately jump out at you?
This is a great question, because I believe there is a big difference between being a tourist and actually living in America. André, what's the big difference? Living in America is much better, my friends. Let's go. That's my... no?
I think some of it's to do with the day-to-day stuff. I mean, for instance, you're mandated to have and purchase healthcare here or get it as part of your job.
Oh boy. We are entering a very dangerous zone. Healthcare is honestly, there is two topics on this channel that people, not with me, because I never go really deep into that, but sometimes I see people in the comments, and when they are fighting, normally two topics, and they are related, politics and healthcare. That drives people crazy. There is always different arguments on, I mean, at the end of the day, that's healthy to have different arguments, right? But those are the two topics, honestly. Guns, I don't feel like that's the case for some reason, but politics and healthcare, oh boy.
The healthcare system, of course, wildly different to what I would expect back home. We had an incident years ago where we got a massive bill. We're talking 6 figures here. I can't do
6 figures? That's a lot.
maths. 6 figures. I know. And so, but eventually it was all sorted and everything's fine. But it is a big shock. And then ambulance rides can be anywhere up to $6,000. You know, that's an expensive taxi to the hospital.
That's true. Wait, 6 figures for the... Oh, well, okay. But probably he had no insurance. Even though it's still crazy, right?
So things like that really stick out to me. It's those things that you need in your life, but you wouldn't necessarily have if you're a traveller here.
Right.
And yeah, healthcare is a big one. But if we're not going to stick to just the negative, although they do generate...
You know, I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna regret this, but I have a question to ask to all of you guys watching this. So, I know there is no free healthcare in America. I have free healthcare in my country, and before you put in the comments, André, it's not free, you pay a lot of taxes. I'm aware. But my question is simple. Do you guys like your healthcare system with insurances, and basically a private system? Because I assume the quality is actually really good if you can afford it. So leave me a comment. Do you like it or not? Do you think should stay this way? Or actually you think maybe it should be free? I frankly don't know, to be honest, my friends.
generate clicks. I would say that a lot of the food that I've experienced here has been mind-blowing, to the extent that I didn't even know that such a diversity of foods was in the offing when I moved here.
Food, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Now, I do get the worst of the food because I do the taste tests, and I mean, pretty much when I come here, it's just like junk food, junk food, junk food, junk food.
Oh,
but
no.
when you live here, is it a different experience?
I'm not sure it is so much different. We still have fast food to this day, you know, because there's the convenience of it that you perhaps don't even have in the UK, where you can just drive up to the building and say, I'd like a Big Mac. You know, not for free. You have to pay still.
Oh my gosh. Everything's so expensive here.
In Chicago, it's not too bad for a major city, but it's when you get out west, as you've seen, where things are, crazy in terms of expense. But in terms of all of that...
So the Midwest is a affordable region. I feel like a lot of you guys also share this feeling with me in other videos.
It doesn't change much, but I've noticed that depending on where you are geographically in the United States, your options might be different. Like, for example, out in Boston, you've got various types of seafood that you can get here, but it's not the real deal that you would get in Boston.
Okay.
And same with all of those other local dishes that I've talked about on my channel too. And that's the great thing about the fact that America's so large. It has just such a broad collection of food items that I can't get, for the most part, in Britain.
Right. Is there anything when you go...
I mean, is this even a debate? American food is the best in the world. Don't want to debate this.
Go back to Britain? Is there...
See, if I said politics and healthcare are a big debate in my comments, food, never. People say, yeah, it's amazing, André. Yeah, it's really good.
anything you're like, oh, I really wish we had that here?
This is really sad to say, but an Arby's...
What would you import permanently to Britain? Okay, let's say to Portugal in this case. Texas barbecue. Let's go.
roast beef sandwich.
I have one!
The hell is that? It looks like a tongue! What the frick? I was expecting a patty.
How did you feel about it?
That could be good, eh?
Yeah, also big blobs of meat.
If you can call it meat, I don't know. But there's something just so unbelievably nice about them that reminds me of my first day living here, because we drove to an Arby's after leaving Indianapolis Airport and I thought I'd reached the promised land.
What? What?
So the next thing I want to ask you about is integration.
Mm.
I mean, obviously you have your beautiful accent, and I'm sure people ask you about that all the time.
Yes.
But how easy or difficult has it been for you to integrate into American culture?
It's a good question, because I think you're right, the accent does to some degree help, especially when I lived in a kind of smaller town in Indiana.
Okay, sorry. Do you guys think that their accent is really different from each other? To me, sounds the same. Mine, I can see, is really different, but them, they sound British. You know, I know she's from Ireland, but for me, sounds similar actually.
Where they just don't meet many English people. My accent stood out to them. They would ask me all manner of questions about my family, the royal family, as you might have heard of. And I didn't usually have...
You know you were royalty.
yeah, it's one of those things that the papers generally overlook, just because I don't dress very well. But...
To the contrary.
You're right. Well, I don't dress like them. That actually helped. The fact that they cottoned onto my accent. It made it easier to make friends with people.
Okay.
To make connections. To get jobs.
Really?
I got jobs on the back of my accent. Yeah,
Oh, very cool.
Wait, that's crazy. What?
It was cool, but on the first day, they did single me out for attention among the group of new hires and had me speak my accent to the whole group. That's not a lie.
Say baked beans.
Yes, please do. It was that they wanted to put me up in against the wall and just speak.
Sounds like something
No
we should talk to
chance.
somebody about, maybe.
It's a bit late now. I left that job about 12 years ago.
Right, you're okay now.
I
You're severely traumatized.
I'm still in therapy for it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Here's an obvious but necessary question.
Yes.
Do you have any advice for a prospective person thinking about moving to the USA?
Oh, this is a good question. This is a really good question and an important one for me. Not that I'm thinking moving to the USA, even though who knows, right? But this is an important question.
Keep your accent.
I mean, I have no way of putting this away.
It'll help in those early days, but that's very superficial. And this doesn't just apply to moving to America. I think that when you move to any new country, it's very much worth your time to embrace that new country. Yes. I think a lot of people come here and they decry the things they can't get anymore, like their favorite chocolates from back home, or just their favorite TV shows, or whatever it might be. And I do that too, but it's not to the detriment of my quality of life here. I still try to enjoy living here. If I didn't, I wouldn't be talking about it in such positive terms, I suppose, on my channel. I think that's it. I think it's embrace it. Every country in the world comes with both its negative and positive elements, and you have to just go along with it, I think.
Right, I do agree with you. Like, you really do have to integrate yourself into the culture, which brings me to the next question. Cultural integration versus cultural preservation.
These are huge words.
They are big words.
Right.
I like reading books.
I do too. And what does that mean that you just asked me?
Do you find it difficult to maintain your British culture without becoming too American, while also being able to like get along in daily life?
I think I've cheated the system here a little bit because I've become a YouTuber who talks about these things.
This is a great point, yeah.
I feel it almost incumbent upon myself to maintain a certain Englishness, I think. It's accidental. It's not something that I'm doing on purpose necessarily, but I know that my audience is tuning in partly because I am British. So it just continues to happen, and I preserve it that way. And also I talk about my Britishness on my channel, so there's a certain connection to it. But in some instances, I have just let go of some of the things I grew up with in Britain simply because you don't access them here.
Like what?
Well, television is a big one, actually, although I have various means to rectify that. The walkability...
Yeah, nowadays, this does not even sound a problem. I mean, with internet, you can, if you live in America, you can watch Portuguese stuff or French stuff, whatever you like, you know.
The ability of Britain is something I miss, or at least I suppose the way things, for instance, the way the streets are laid out. Like, I love that they're all winding over there. But I also forgot that they were winding over there because I've just gotten used to blocks and rectangles and things like that. And I've accepted those for what they are. I actually really value block and grid layout.
Directions are so easy to follow here.
Yeah.
And also, we are unicorns because neither of us drive.
Wait, we're unicorn?
Unicorn.
I didn't know this.
Wait, no driving? License is so easy there, Lawrence. Just, you know, benefit of the system.
Just smells like.
Well, I knew that, but this is a revelation. Where's the thing sticking out of my head?
Oh, it's invisible. Magic.
I like that.
Something that I find interesting when I'm on my way to make a trip over here is having to concern myself more so with safety and security, which is obviously when you live somewhere you don't really think about.
Yeah.
How have you found that living here versus traveling here?
It's an interesting one, that, because I think that the news might suggest that America could be an unsafe place to live, given all of the sort of wacky stories that come out. I think that depends on where you are. You know, even in Chicago, there are perfect.
In Texas, that's the most secure place in the world. I would not, right? Everyone have guns. I just to meet some Texans from the channel and I'm fine. Yeah.
Walkable and safe places all throughout Chicago, in fact, but it gets this reputation as a war zone. These are things I've just never seen with my own experience. So it's about knowing where to walk, where to be.
You know, but real talk, I don't think America is an unsafe place at all. I think maybe, but this applies in big cities here in Europe. It's the same thing. Midnight in Paris, good luck, my friends. You know, or 1 a.m., 2 a.m., midnight is still early, actually. Good luck, be careful. You know what I mean? Those major cities, I mean, it is what it is. And I assume New York, of course, be careful. I mean, but small towns and, you know, normal cities, I think they are amazing, right?
And all of that. I generally think I felt more unsafe in certain parts of Britain, actually.
That's very interesting.
Yeah,
wow.
But then again, I say that as a bloke who's 6 feet tall. So I don't have all the answers to that question. Certainly that's been my experience, but I don't know how you
6 foot. Oh wow.
found it this week.
It's very interesting because I suppose in a way when you're living somewhere, it's the devil you know.
Yes.
So you sort of know what like scams to be aware of.
Oh yeah.
Or like what streets are dodgy and what what
This-
you're kind
this
of
is
rapt
true,
to
yeah.
walk around with your phone out.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're somewhere totally new and you're visiting, you're just like, oh, I gotta be careful everywhere because I
Yeah.
don't know if this is a safe place or not.
Yeah, this is
That was
true.
me in San Francisco, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a great point by Diane. Even if I think America is safe, when I go there, I would still be careful. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know that well if I'm in a safe zone or not.
Specifically when I went there 6 years ago, I initially was there on my own at night, and by all accounts, where I was not unsafe, but I just didn't know, so I just assumed, and I was looking over my shoulder, all the time, and I'm like, what's he doing? Oh, he's just selling baguettes. It's fine.
Like,
But you don't know that. You're right.
Right.
But certainly when you live here on the day to day, you hear all the stories. Oh, don't go down that street, or don't walk into that person's yard. I mean, that's just a good rule in general.
generally speaking,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I agree.
Have there been any times that you found your Britishness being lost in translation amongst the Americans?
Yes, actually, plenty of times, and often it doesn't manifest through words and phrases. Sometimes it does.
Okay, I have a take on this. I feel like I always try to be funny. Yeah, I know. On this channel, and some of the jokes I think that was a good one. You guys don't like it, but a lot of other ones that I think, oh my god, this was such a bad joke. You guys that cracked me up. And I feel like maybe there is some difference in terms of humor. I don't know.
It does. Often it's tone. I think sometimes people here don't recognize my brand of sarcasm. And that, by the way, is not to say that Americans themselves don't get sarcasm or don't have it. They do. It's just very different. I think when Americans are sarcastic, they let you know it's sarcastic through their tone of voice, right?
Okay.
And I think British people are just so sort of dry about it that you can't really tell that they're being sarcastic.
Ooh, I'm kind of like them, actually. I feel like.
Totally. I think that's very true. And something I maybe have cut out of my personality on YouTube a little bit is the sarcasm, because
I don't.
Like, more often than not, people don't get it.
I've ranted.
Honestly, I crack a lot of bad jokes, I'm aware, and I will keep doing that. My personality will stay the same on this. I will convert you guys to my side.
Oh, really?
I just feel like it's because it's more fun.
Right.
Especially if they don't get it. You can write in the comments.
I did a video
Exactly.
recently and I was reacting to something from the 60s or 70s, a music video, and I went, wow, look, no phones anywhere. Not a phone in sight. And everyone's like, Diane, phones weren't invented back then, mobile phones. And I was like, I know, I was...
Oh my god, this happened to me. It was a very similar situation. So I was reacting to a video that someone in New York was looking what's the name of that? The goggles to see the city. And I said something that, oh, you can see Miami from there. And someone write me that, no, André, Miami is impossible to see it that far. And I was like, oh, okay. To be honest, most of you guys got it. But there was, it was like, okay.
Just joking.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's just like,
yeah.
as you say, the tone is just different.
Yeah, it is. And it's even harder when you're writing it down, I suppose, in a comment, because you can't see the sarcasm.
Yeah. I heard there's a new thing, you hashtag S when you mean sarcasm.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh no, hashtag slash.
/S.
Slash.
I'll have to
I don't know
remember
which way
that.
the slash goes.
Maybe I'll
What?
say that out loud when I'm being sarcastic as well.
/S.
It'd be really awkward. Yeah. /S.
My last question for you, Lawrence, Lost in the Pond, below. Go check his channel. It's wonderful. That
It's
sounded
wonderful.
like slash sarcasm, but it wasn't.
No, please. You can be as sarcastic about that as you want.
It's great. No, it is. I am actually being sincere. Anyway, if you could come up with an invention for a British person who has moved over or is thinking of moving over to the America, what would that be? It can be technological, it can be otherwise?
High-speed rail would be good, just because, you know, we don't really have that in America, and we technically have it in Britain, and I miss it. But I realise that that is a pipe dream, sometimes literally with trains. I think, though, for my own personal life, I don't know, maybe it would be something to where I can just translate myself, especially when I'm being ultra sarcastic. But also the words that I use, so that when I encounter an American and I use a word that is just not used here, it translates to them in their brain like they're in an episode of Doctor.
If I could invent one thing just for this channel, it would be some type of travel machine where I'm reacting to a video and I do boom, boom, I'm in the place. You know, oh, hello, you guys are eating Texas barbecue? Bring one more for me. Bam, and I'm there. This will be the, I will surpass, if that was the case, I would surpass Mr. Beast numbers. I feel like my channel would explode completely. Can you imagine? I'm in Portugal, all of a sudden, I'm eating Texas barbecue. Yeah, but other invention could be what he's saying also. A machine that when I'm struggling with English helps me. That's the word, André, and I say it, and you guys did not notice, you know.
Who?
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Crack. I always have that. That's a huge one. Yeah.
Crack. Oh, the Irish.
The Irish word for crack. It's fun.
For a minute there, I thought you were offering me something untoward.
You're so Americanized. Crack is, like, obviously in America, not a good thing, but in Ireland, a very good thing.
It's spelled differently, correct?
C-R-A-I-C.
Right. Okay. Can you explain?
Crack is the drug that they are talking about. There is also crackers, oh man, the cookies.
To me what that is again. I saw it in one of your videos.
It's fun.
Just means having fun.
Having a bit of crack, a bit
That's
of
right.
fun.
I've heard English people use that term as well.
Oh, you've adopted it.
We've adopted it. We've
Irelandized.
stolen your stuff.
It's okay.
Oh.
You're used to
Okay.
it right now. Yes, I was going to say. Yeah.
Is there any app you could think of that would be, like, good for moving to the America?
Yes, actually, I think it would be a great idea if there was an app that pointed people to the correct visas that they need when applying for, say, citizenship or a residence or
true.
whatever it might be. That way, they don't have to go through all of the legwork to type it in on USCIS's website. I'm not disgruntled.
Gotcha. Sounds like a personal experience you've
A
had.
little that my wife reminded me of off camera.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi everyone.
I've had a production value on this video, the lighting setup and the couch and everything. We've had a wonderful producer on
Oh,
this
his wife.
video. Hi everyone. Thank you so much.
Hey, Tara.
Oh, it's been really lovely. And thank you so much for meeting up with me today.
I didn't have a choice.
No, not really. But I think they would have all been really mad with me if I didn't meet up with you.
I would have been mad too, so I'm glad you got in touch.
They've been wonderful hosting me in their beautiful city, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's pretend for a second you haven't gone over to Lost in the Ponds channel and checked out the video over there. Do it now. Also stay tuned for another
I actually already reacted to this video.
one on this channel.
That's it for today. See you guys on the other side. Bye.
Bye.
The other side of what?
I don't know. I've never been able to answer that question.
Me neither. They say it every day.
They do. They're liars.
Okay, great stuff. I mean, great combination, you know, Diane and Lawrence. Two channels that I actually react to a lot of content, specifically more Lawrence, I would say, but I really like both. That said, my friends, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I thought this was a great video. A lot of interesting questions, being fair. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Bye.